What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about audio interfacing. For the beginners out there who don't know what an audio interface is, don't worry, I'm about to explain everything you need to know, and I'm also going to tell you a little bit about what you need to know before you buy an audio interface, and I'm also going to put up a top 3 best audio interfaces within a $200 budget. So for the broke people out there, I got you. Now before we begin, make sure to go to my channel, of course subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you'll be up to date with my latest content. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is an audio interface? Simply put, an audio interface is a device that connects your studio gear such as guitars, microphones, or other instruments to your computer. So why do you need an audio interface? The reason why you need an audio interface is that most computers and laptops have a stock audio interface that does not provide the necessary sound quality. So when you try to run audio through your stock laptop sound card or computer sound card, this will cause latency, which is very annoying. And this is the last thing you would want if you're working on music. Latency refers to a short period of delay, usually measured in milliseconds, between when an audio signal enters and when it emerges from the system. Let's say, for instance, you plug in a microphone directly to your laptop's input via the microphone jack it comes with. Your laptop will need to process that analog electrical signal and turn it into a digital signal for your DAW to register. And if you want to listen back to that audio in real time, called monitoring, your laptop or computer will need to again process that signal, this time to get an electrical analog signal that can be picked up by headphones or studio monitors. Within a typical computer environment, your audio signal will need to go through many layers of process. What you end up with is a horrible delay, also known as latency. If you plan on recording vocals or instruments and hope to be able to listen to them from your computer's DAW or digital audio workstation through your headphones or studio monitors in real time, you need a way of bypassing the layers required to process the audio signal from within the computer system. So this is where you need the audio interface. So an audio interface is basically a bridge between your computer and your musical gear. Now this can be like guitars, bass guitars, microphones, etc. It bypasses your computer system's audio device, connecting your instruments, microphones, studio headphones, and monitors to your DAW directly. What you end up with is a device that produces a close to zero latency, undetectable by the human ear. So now that that's clear, let's move on to what to look for when you're buying your first audio interface. I'm going to take you to a few important criteria that you need to consider when you're about to buy your first audio interface. The first one is connections. You need to know how many instruments or microphone inputs you need to connect to your computer's digital audio workstation, as well as how many outputs you need for your outbound gear. If you're just a beginner that's just getting started, it is most likely best to go with a budget audio interface that is equipped with just a pair of connectors. But if you're planning to record a band or doing a podcast with like 4 members, just a couple of connectors is not going to be enough. So I can tell you that solo musicians, people who make beats, people who maybe are singers, will need around 2 to 4 connectors. If you're in a songwriting team and you work in small groups, you will need at least 4 to 8. If you're an engineer who records a whole band, you should have as many as 16. So be sure to carefully consider the connections on the audio interface before you decide to buy one. Now the most common type of connectors are analog connectors. These are the most popular connectors because they offer quick connections on the fly. With these connectors, you can plug in your instrument line or microphone connector directly into your digital audio workstation via your audio interface. Now there are 3 types of analog connectors. The first one is XLR. This is usually for microphones, studio microphones. The second one is TRS, usually for instruments such as guitars. And the third one is combination connectors. This facilitates both of the previous connectors. Now to connect your audio interface to your computer or laptop are usually 3 different options. These are USB, Thunderbolt, and Firewire. USB is by far the most popular method of connecting to your laptop or computer, and it ranges from the standard 2.0 to the faster 3.0 transfers. Thunderbolt is used on Mac devices and mainly newer Mac devices, and is on its way to becoming the standard for high quality music production and recording. And last but not least, we got Firewire. Now this is the predecessor of Thunderbolt. Offers high speed data transfers, but is becoming a little bit outdated because more and more producers are switching to newer Mac devices. Alright, now let's talk about size. There are 3 different sizes of audio interfaces mainly. The first one is the portable audio interface. This is the one used for people who like to produce on the go, who like to travel a lot and take their gear with them on the train, on the airplane, the bus, whatever. The second one is a desktop version, which is mainly used for people who have a home setup but don't want to go too big, so they still want to keep it like small and compact. And the third one is a rack mounted audio interface. This one is used more in bigger studios with racks where you can actually install your audio interface into a rack. Now let's talk about the most important thing, the budget. Now, as we all know, a lot of us are broke, including me.
I'm broke, nigga, I'm broke!
And we don't have too much money to spend on gear. And gear is, of course, very expensive, especially music gear. So budget is very important. Let's talk a little bit about what you can get with your money. It all depends on how much you're willing to invest in your music career or whatever it is that you're doing. If you're just starting out, a budget interface might be the way to go, since you don't need too many options and too many unnecessary things. You can still get like good quality sound and also be able to save some cash and not spend too much on some gear. You should always look at what your demands are, what your wishes are before you buy, and also know like how many inputs you need and how many options you need in order to do what you want to do. As you get better as a producer or singer or artist or whatever it is that you do, you might want to get something a little bit more expensive that has a little bit more options. More expensive audio interfaces have more options. Some of them have effects or other cool stuff that you can use. So if you're progressing as an artist and you want to do a little bit more, you might want to look at other audio interfaces that are a little bit more expensive. This is mainly for the beginner who are just starting out, don't have too much money, don't want to spend too much money, and are just looking for something to start off with. So now that I have explained what you should consider before buying your first audio interface, let's move on to my top 3 best audio interfaces within a $200 budget. Now, number 3 on my list is the PreSonus AudioBox USB audio interface. Now, this is a great choice for beginner producers. PreSonus offers a more inexpensive 1 mic preamp model as well as a 2 mic preamp model that can be used with iPads. So if you're just starting out and you don't have FL Studio or Ableton or Logic or any other DAW, this audio interface comes with Studio One 3 software, which will allow you to start recording ideas and sound immediately. The interface offers 2 mic and instrument inputs as well as a MIDI input for keyboards for maximal recording abilities for the solo artist. Number 2 on my list is the Audient ID4. This interface has a very cool design that supports DI and XLR mic inputs with a 1/4-inch RCA speaker output. Another interesting feature of this interface is the monitor pan, which allows you to mute your speakers without having to physically turn them off. Also, the ID button on this interface can be used as a hardware function key, which allows such options as scroll control, mono plus polarity, dim, and talk back. These configurations can be made within the master section of the ID mixer. Now, number 1 on my list, and no, I'm not biased because I own one myself, is the Focusrite Scarlett 2-1. Nah, wait. Fuck. Now, number 1 on my list is truly one of the best audio interfaces on the market today, Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 audio interface. This is, in my opinion, by far one of the best audio interfaces out there. This interface by Focusrite is the best for home and semi-pro studio, and I own it myself, as I said before. And most of my friends who are into producing own this piece of gear. The Scarlett 2i2 brings great microphone preamp quality, very rugged build for stability as well as portability, quite a few selections for ins and outs. The 2i2 name basically means that it has 2 inputs and 2 outputs, as well as 2 preamps built in. Highly talked about and appreciated by producers around the world is the amp quality, compared to mechanisms found in a lot of condenser and ribbon mics and more expensive interfaces. It's a simple interface for a great price. So I hope I have managed to inform you on what an audio interface is, what it does, and I hope to have helped you choosing your first audio interface for your home studio. Now, if you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel as usual. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite audio interface is and which ones you might not like. And of course, stay tuned because I'll be back with new videos really soon. Oh, and another thing I like to say is I created a Spotify playlist with a lot of samples that I use myself in my beats and just generally really dope hip-hop samples. So if you're looking for samples to make beats, be sure to check out my playlist. I'll put a link in the description below. Of course, follow me on Spotify, follow the playlist, and yeah, I hope you can make some dope beats. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. Peace.